Hey everybody, welcome back to live stream number 2. This is pretty cool. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Thanks for joining me. We are working on this Buick GSX 455, and I've added a screen over here for the back, but I also need to add an orthographic view or an image here in the background. Now if I hit, let me bring up my numpad here. I've got a Bluetooth numpad. If I hit the 1 key and the 5 key, I go to the front view, right? So there's our front view. But if I hit the Control 1 key, I go around to the back view, and I could add an image here into the back view. So let's do that. Let me also, let me come down here. Let's see what I have in here. Yeah, I've got side, front, and top. So let's go ahead and add one in the back. But I need to create it first. So let's go over to Photoshop. And here's that orthographic view that I got from the blueprints.com. And here is my front view that I'm using in Blender. So what I need to do is cut out the back with the marquee tool here, and copy it, and I'm going to paste it right in here. Now there it is. I'm going to bring down the opacity some, and what I need to do is kind of get it matched to the front view. If I move it up some and then scale it down a bit like so, I can see a problem right away. If I line up my tires on the bottom, then the top isn't aligned. And this can happen with reference images that you get online. They're not quite the right size. So what I need to do is figure out, I think what I want to do is have the roof be correct and then not worry about the tires in this particular view. So let me, if I bring that down a bit, maybe something like this, right? Let's try that. So as I said, I'm not going to worry about the tires. My concern is really about the fender, the tail lights, and the roof line. So I think this will work pretty well. Well, it may be a little bit off. Let's give it a try. So I'm going to take this back up to 100%. And I'll go ahead and export this out. And export. And here we have, so I have front view, side view, top view. This will be my back view right there. And now if we go back to Blender, let's insert that into here. So add image. And in this view, I want it to be the back view. And let's bring it in. See if I can find it. No. Reference images. No. I need to be better at, oh here, maybe here. No? Where did I put them? All right. I need you guys to tell me where I put these things. Oh, I bet I know where I put them. Maybe in live stream. No. Dang it. All right. Well then, here we go. Buick images. That makes sense. All right. So now here is the image in the back view. If I hit the 1 key, it'll spin around to the front view. And if I hit Control 1, it'll spin around to the back view. Let me hit the 1 key and go, and I want to look at what the settings are here. I've got 8.2 for the size, so let me go plug that in down here. 8.2, like that. Let me spin around with Control 1 again. That's not looking right, is it? And let me just bring this up some. That's not looking right. I'm going to have to wing it here. So let me just wing it. What's going to happen is I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to wing it like this. I need to get it a little bit more into the center. There we go. And I think that's looking pretty good. Let me hit the Z key. Maybe a little bit bigger. Something like that. Yeah, I think that's going to work. All right. So now that we have both the front and the back views here, we can do a little bit more with this as we continue on with the modeling. So now that we got that taken care of, I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Q and take a look at my quad view here. So I think the next thing to do is to work on this back end, and it looks like this piece kind of comes up a little higher than I have it here. So let's begin working on this. I think it kind of curves up a bit as well in the back, so maybe what I can do is select these and begin working here. All right. So I'm going to get these in place and select this point here, Control-click this point here, and I'm going to begin moving it over up along the hood. So I'm going to hit E for extrude and move this up just a bit. Not that much back here, of course. And just begin getting them in place. There we go. I'll hit E again. And this time I'm going to bring this down just a bit like this, so it kind of comes over that ridge. Like that. And let's keep on going here now. So this is the tail fin. We're not going to deal with that right now, but we're going to have to deal with that soon. There we go. So I'm going to bring this, I'm going to extrude this and bring this right to this line right here. And I want to align this edge with that line of the trunk. So I'm going to press S and X and scale like that. There we go. Nice. Okay, and I'm going to scale it in the Y just a bit. Move it back some. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, how are we doing back here? Let's take a look. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'm going to go ahead and keep going across the hood here now. Trunk, excuse me. So I'll hit E and keep on going back like this. However, I think I do want it to come up just a smidge as it's going along there. And I want to align these a little bit better. Just trying to tweak as we go. There's going to be quite a lot of tweaking once everything's in place, but try and do as much as we can as we go. Bring that up a bit. Bring each of these up just a hair. And I'm pressing Alt and clicking to select that whole edge. Straighten it up with by scaling in the X and E and keep going. And now I think I will hit E and bring these right through here. Now notice I can go right through here, and I don't want to do that. I want these two to come together right there. So what I can do is come over here to the mirror modifier and choose clipping, and that will ensure that when these points come together, they will snap together like that. All right. So we've got that part done. That's good. Let's now think about the roof here. This is going to be a little bit more interesting, I think. So what I need to do is be mindful of how many edges I have along here, as well as how many edges I have here. And I've only got one edge here for this piece. That's probably not going to be enough. But let me do that for now, and I can always add extra edge loops once I split this out, because these are going to be different parts. So this is going to be one part, that's going to be one part, this is going to be one part, etc. But it looks like I can go ahead and grab this edge and begin extruding up to get this for now. So let's begin that. I'll hit E and move up just a bit. And I need to kind of fold this in just a hair like this. Let's take a look at it in the front view. How are we doing here? Yeah, that's not quite in line, is it? So I'm going to move that edge out like that. There we go. All right, let's keep going. And this is what I meant by keeping an eye on all of your views as you go. It can be kind of disconcerting as to where you are, but for right now I think it's working out pretty well. So let's go ahead and let me get this straighter. There we go. Maybe it's something like that. Okay, now let's extrude up. I'll bring this out just a hair, and now you can see when I brought it up in line here, it isn't in line in these views, so we need to do that. There we go. And keep on going. There. Move it over to here. Good. Extrude. Just keep molding it to your view as you go. There we go. And let's do one more up to here, like so. There we go. All right. So now we've got that part coming up. And this is going to be part of the door, I believe, right? Yeah, that's going to be part of the door there. Okay. Now that we have that, let's think about the roof. And I think the roof, I want to begin right up in the center again, like I did the hood. I don't think I want to come off of this piece right here. I think I want to begin on its own up here. So what I'll have to do is create a new plane and put it right in there. Once again, split it in half, mirror it, and begin up here. So I guess I ought to pull my head up and say hi, huh? And see how you guys are doing, if you have any questions or comments. So let's see. Let me see if I can find something. What? My eyes barely blink when I'm modeling. It says I've noticed that your eyes barely blink when you're modeling. How do you take care of them and avoid issues? I had no idea that they didn't blink. Really? I get that into it, huh? I didn't know that. So now that I know that, I'm gonna now think about it, and I'm gonna have to do something for my eyes. Let's go up here. Yes, someone says that they're surprised I began with a fairly dense mesh and then instead of blocking it out with larger pieces. And that's the way some people work. For me, it has always worked best to treat a vehicle like a character, and use edge loops to mold the polygons around the surface of the object using these multiple views. The project I'm working on is going to be using Blender assets in a game engine, but the project is really going to be more like a cinematic or a cutscene. So it isn't going to be interactive. It's going to be like a short film telling us a story, but it's still going to be using the same technologies as if you were making a game. So my poly count, the poly count of my objects isn't as much of a concern to me as it would be if I were dealing with an interactive kind of a game instead of making like a cutscene. So that's kind of why I'm able to begin with a denser kind of polygons here, or an object. Let's see. Anything else? Do this all week. I would love to. And I'm beginning to think, for me, this 1 o'clock time is working pretty well to be able to sit down and do some work on this project. And I'd love to just have you guys come along with me as I work on this. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And it's helpful for me to have a regular time to put my butt in the chair and do it. So if you're willing to come along with me for the ride here, it'd be great if I could kind of say, okay, 1 o'clock every day, I'm going to do this. I don't know. Let's see how it works. Maybe I should do this until I get absolutely 0 viewers. So the first time I get 0 viewers, I should just pack it up. Maybe that's what I should do. Anyway, I'm enjoying it. So let's see if we can keep it going. All right, I'm going to tab into object mode here, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new polygon plane with Shift-A mesh plane. And once again, I'll add an edge loop to it right down the middle here. And let me go to my top view real quick. Here we go. And I'll go to face mode, delete one side. I'll scale it down a bit. Whoops, let me scale it down in object mode. Let's do that. There we go. And I'll add a mirror modifier here. All right. So now I have the beginning of the roof line. I'll begin here. I need to come out here and see where I am. Okay, so let's go back to our quad view, and let's pull that polygon up. There we go. And let's begin working on this. So I think I want to rotate it just a smidge like that. Scale it down a bit. Get it right there. Okay. Now, let's go to edge mode and begin doing the same thing we have been doing by extruding and moving it out. So there we go. Let me move that out just a bit. I'm trying to keep the polygons of this relatively the same size. Relatively. It's all relative. Okay. Here we go. And let's keep going. So maybe this one comes down just a hair and back just a hair. Extrude. And once again, keeping an eye on all of my views. To just kind of mold the polygons around that kind of imaginary object. All right. Yeah. Got another one here. Let's see how we're doing up here in this view. Okay. I think what I could do is have another extrusion. Let's see. I don't really have to think about connecting these right now if I don't want to. Sometimes I just keep going and, and refuse to deal with something until I have a good idea for it. I've been known to do that. Sometimes my inaction pays off. Sometimes it will bite me in the butt. So I think I will leave that right there for now. There we go. All right, so now we've got an edge here that we can grab and begin moving back along the roof. So let me tumble around here, go back to perspective view in this view. I like to see it in perspective view most times. All right, extrude, move back. I'm going to scale in the Y to straighten that up a bit so it's a little prettier. So it looks a little better, doesn't offend my sense of aesthetics. There you go. Okay. And I'm keeping my eye over here because it looks like it should be coming up some here. Even though you can't always trust your reference images, you got to kind of go with it there at the beginning here, at least blocking things in. Okay. We're getting there. Now I'm seeing that these parts here need to be coming down a bit, don't they? So let's begin working on that. I'll begin kind of moving them down just a hair. They may have to come out some, but or make that turn a little bit more gradual. But let's give this a try. Something like that. Actually, that's not bad. All right. Let's select this edge and keep going. We're going to begin kind of molding it down, angling it down here as we go. There we go. Now I need to begin angling these out up here. I've pulled them down in the side view, but let's angle them out here. See how this works. And I may need to pull these out just a bit. Let me look at this and see if I can get any kind of a hint. Yeah, it almost looks like these need to come out a bit. I'll deal with these a little bit later, but I think those are going to need to angle out as well. All right. Moving down here like this. And this can come out here. Now, what I could also do is I could also scale an edge from this point. So if I selected this point and press Shift S and then cursor to selected, now I can change my pivot point to the 3D cursor. And then when I select this edge, now if I scale in the X, it will scale from that cursor. So I can kind of scale this out till it goes like that. So these I could have scaled out like that. So let me move the cursor again. And then S and X, and I can scale them out like that. So that might be the way to do it coming back here. Let me move the cursor back out again to the median point. And we will keep going. I just want to get back to the rear view mirror, the rear window. Hit E and extrude. And I'll go one more time here. All right. So, there we go. Now we've got our basic geometry of this. Let me move the cursor again and scale this in the X. Let me move this. There we go, scale in the X. And do it once more here. Like that. There we go. Okay. Let's bring this back into the median point and let's take a look at this. Control-Alt-Q. Hey, okay. We're getting there. I can come over here to the Tools tab and smooth it a bit just to see how it looks like that. Not too bad. I think that's what we want. Let's go ahead and connect these up. So currently these are two different objects. If I select this object and shift select this object, now I can press Control J and they will join into one object. Now I could come over here and let's go ahead and snap these points together. I'll select those two, press Alt M and at last, and do the same thing here. Like that, Alt M at last. All right, so that connects that up. Good. Now, hey, it's beginning to kind of look like a car. All right, how you guys doing? Let me see what's going on over here in the chat. All right. So somebody said, all right, I have to read this. I wish Darren was the president. Well, I appreciate that, but that just ain't going to happen because I think most of us are smart enough to never run for president. Anyway, I do agree. Let's keep our focus on Blender here. So let me see if there's any other questions here. Let me see. Oh, well, yeah. One person says, I'm from Texas. Guess what? I'm from Oklahoma. So, it's great to have you here. Let me see. My system froze up, so my chat went away. Hang on. Let me see if I can get back. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm originally from Oklahoma, and I've lived in Oklahoma, in Kansas City, Rhode Island, Los Angeles, and now I'm here in Wisconsin. So, and enjoying it quite a lot. All right. Any other questions? Let me see if I can find another question here. Let's see. How do I decide how many squares or polygons to put in an object? Well, that's a good point. It's kind of, it's not really an intellectual process up front. I just kind of know that I need a certain amount of polygons to get these curves. Ultimately, if we're going to have this kind of smooth curve, if I took out, say, you know, every other one of these, we wouldn't be able to get that kind of a smooth curve. We'd have more of a flat, choppy object here. If I hit X and dissolve edges, you can see I've now got a much more jagged object. Let me undo that. But as I'm doing this up front here, This is the way I'm doing it because it kind of helps me. There's no reason why after it's all modeled and everything that you can't go back in and begin pulling out particular edges that you don't need. So feel free to do that. I like to I probably overdo my objects in terms of poly count at the beginning, and then I'll pull them back. So that is certainly an acceptable way to do it. All right, so we've got the roof, the trunk. Let's see if we can connect the roof and the trunk here together. See if we can get it to look good. This is oftentimes an issue when you're trying to connect two different pieces like this. Let me go back to Control-Alt-Q and let's see what we can do. All right, so it looks to me like if I moved this edge or this point over here and maybe even swung this over like this just a little bit, kind of swing them around like that, then I'd have the edges here to begin extruding down like this. Let's give this a try. So let's get everything in our viewports here. It looks to me like I could grab this. Here it is. It's kind of sticking out. Let me bring it back into alignment with the view here. And these as well. I didn't keep an eye on these now, did I? Let me bring these back in just a little. Okay. So now let's begin bringing these down. These two edges here, I'll extrude, I'll bring them down, and in addition, what I'll do is maybe rotate them a bit like this, so they kind of angle down the back there. You kind of have to pretend that you can see the car in three dimensions while you do this. So there we go. All right, let's try this again. Hit extrude, bring that down. I think I'll bring this up just a bit, like this. And with these tight turns and things like this, sometimes this is kind of why I think the edge modeling way of doing things is good for vehicle modeling. Now, if you take a look at my hard surface modeling course at Blender 101, since it's a motorcycle, it was built up in pieces, in blocks, right? I used more of the box modeling type or technique for that particular vehicle. But this kind of vehicle, I think the edge modeling works pretty well for. All right, let me hit E to extrude this, bring it down, and I think I want one more, and then I got to think about connecting these, right? So let's think about connecting these. Let's take a look. I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Q and then hit the period key to zoom into the selected. And okay, I think I've got something that I can work with here. I can take this and match these up like that. Oh yeah, see, it doesn't always work out that nicely, but this time I think it does. So I'll take it. Alt-M to merge those 2 points. Oops, not Command-M. Alt-M. Command-M minimizes the window there. Alt-M and at last. Okay, so now I've got some work to do to kind of match these up. Let me go back to my quad view, hit Z, and yeah, I've got some work. I can kind of match these up a little bit better. Yeah. All right. Now, let me see. This, okay, I think what needs to happen is this part needs to be a little higher. So let me start bringing these in. I need to make this line up the back of the car a little bit smoother and bring it up a little bit more. Like that. There we go. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Let me bring this down a bit and bring this up a bit. So this is the point that needs to be in line with the image right there. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good. Let me bring this up just a little bit here. All right, so let's take a look at it. How we doing? Yeah. All right. That's actually beginning to look like our Buick GSX. Now, where should we go from here? There's a couple of things we could do. I think what I want to do is fill in here first. Let's do that. And then we could actually put the windows in. That might be a good thing to do here for today as well, just to block all that in. Let's give that a try. So back to Control-Alt-Q, and let's take a look at this area here. Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to fill in. So right in here, let's bring this down, bring this down. Looks like I've got a bad line of points coming down here. Let me spin around and see what... Yeah, that line of points is pretty ragged. So I need to fix that, don't I? See how this is kind of haphazard here? It looks pretty good from the top view, but if we look at it from the front, it looks terrible. So we need to figure out where all of these points need to go. I think they probably need to come out a little bit like this. So let's work on that. I'm just selecting a point in one view and then pulling it in another view. Sometimes that's the way it helps me to see where I am and what it is I'm working on at the time. Something like that. Yeah, okay. What about this point? What is that? Oh, that's back here. All right, I think I'm okay with where that is for now. Now, let's grab these edges here. This, and let's... Do I want... So what I'm looking at now, I've got 1, 2, 3 edges here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges here. So, as I said, this is what happens when you do that in two parts. The top and the back fender here. So how am I going to get those to connect up? Well, I could add an edge in here. That's one way to do it. I could pull an edge out of here. So why don't I pull an edge out of here? I'll select that edge and press X and dissolve edge. All right. So now I've got that. I can take this edge and slide it down a bit with Control E and edge slide, and slide that down a bit like that. All right, let's see if that's going to help me any. So now if I took these two edges, and I'm going to select these 4 edges here, and let me try and bridge these. Control E, bridge edge loops. Let me try that. Okay, that's what that does for me. What I could do is slide this forward just a bit. Control E, slide. And let's add an edge loop right here. See what happens. You're seeing me work without a net here. How are we going to get that to work? Let me undo that. I think that'll work. What I could do as well is insert an edge here. I'm going to have a try in here somewhere, aren't I? Let me put an edge here. Let me take these two edges and extrude them up. And put these here. I'm going to merge them together here. See if this works. Sometimes it's like a puzzle. You just have to kind of work with it until you get it. Let me go back to my perspective view here. And now, what do you think here? There are a couple ways that this could go. I could go like that, but there'd be a try. I could extrude this out or select these edges here and hit the F key, and that would do that, but I'd still have a try. It's not going to be a terrible thing if I have a triangle here by any means, because there's no animation or deforming of the mesh that's going to be happening here, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll go ahead and just select them, hit the F key, and fill that, and I'll think about it a little bit more. I feel like there's another more clever way to do that I'll remember or realize what it is, in about 18 hours. And I'll go, oh, that's what I should have done. So let's see how this works. So I've got some point pulling to do here. There's some stretching here I'm seeing. I can move that up a bit. And a little bit of adjusting that needs to happen here. Yeah, all right. It's not too bad, at least for a first go. As I think about it, I'll come back and let you know. But for right now, it's kind of aggravating me that I can't think of something better right now. It'll come to me. Do you have any ideas? Before I added the last edge loop, I had the right number of faces. Really? Dang it. I hate when that happens. Well, okay. I'll come back to this maybe tomorrow, and we'll take a look at it with fresh eyes, because I'm hating this. In fact, I have to get rid of it. I have to get rid of it. I can't take it. So I'm going to delete faces. This isn't right. There we go. That just isn't right at all. So I'm going to have to think about this. This should come down. This should flow right here. This should flow along here and connect up with this, right? Wouldn't you think? Yeah. Or should this continue out? Well, let me take a break and answer some questions and see if you guys have some insights for me here. I will save it and let me take a look. Let's see. Generally bad practice to have triangles in the mesh. Generally, if for animation, yes, because if something is bending, you need an even edge. Let's say, well, I don't really have something here, but let's say this whole front end was going to bend at this edge, right? It was going to bend up. If we had instead triangles here, the the bending of this might not conform to that one edge. It might go up into an edge of a triangle. And so when you're deforming the polygons, the object, you really want quads so you know for sure how it's going to bend. If you're taking your object into a game engine like Unity or Unreal or even the Blender, the game engine is going to be converting it all to triangles anyway. So you're not hurting anything by having one part be a triangle, right? But yes, when you're dealing with characters at the elbows, at the knees, at the shoulders, etc., you really want to try and avoid triangles. How long does it take to master Blender? Well, I'll tell you when I get there. It's an ongoing thing. You never really master it completely. It's like playing piano or anything like that. But I will tell you this, it's just doing it. And my suggestion is, as you're practicing, is to use as few tools as possible. I used to see this with my students in the classroom, and they'd want to learn this, and want to learn that tool, want to learn that tool, and how do I do this, and how do I do that? And in the end, you can do just about everything you need to do with just extrude and insert edge loop, right? And if you really begin working on your modeling with as few tools as possible, it's amazing how good you can get very quickly, because you don't have to deal with all the extra tools. People get a little overwhelmed by all the tools. So as you're learning Blender, my suggestion is to use as few tools as possible. So what else? One more here. Let's see. Let me go back up and see what I missed. Let's see. For cars, is it better to use creases or extra edges to make things sharp? That's a really good question. I tend to use edges because I can control it, right? But if it's something that's really has to be low poly, then maybe you've got to use crease or sharpen or whatever. I tend to add an extra edge loop, but I tend to always know what I'm doing and know that I'm doing it, and I do it for a purpose, right? Oh, I see something. Wait a minute. I just noticed. Maybe I could do this. Hang on. Let me try something. I'm going to extrude this up. As I was talking, I looked over at this and I saw something. Let me see if this will work. This may be what I just did. I'm not sure. Let me move this in. Okay. Like that. No, that's still... Oh, look at this. Look at this. If I do this and I bridge this, still got to try. Dang. I could fill these. Oh, man. And you see how when you smooth those oddly shaped polygons can give you that strange crease there? Even though these are quads, because I've got that try and because things aren't flowing smoothly, I've got that strange crease there. Dang it. I'll figure it out. I'm going to delete these again. All right. So, it looks like my brain may be on overload here, so I think I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to pound my head against the wall about those about those polygons back there. But I really appreciate you taking the time to join me here. I'm going to try it again tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get a little better at this and can move a little quicker and answer more questions. It's kind of a different kind of thing. I'm having to think about 3 or 4 different things at a time, and it's different, but I kind of like it. It's fun. So I hope it's been helpful for you, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.